Hi everybody, welcome to the channel and welcome to the Man Cave. And I'm super excited today because later on today, which is Sunday the 2nd of April, I get to take my GS away from my home island of Jersey, jump on the ferry, about an hour and 20 minutes due south, going towards a place on the French coast called St.Mere, and then I've got 3 nights in France going to visit the Normandy Landing Beaches. So I'm really looking forward to this trip. Well, this trip has been in the planning for several months now. I've done lots of Google research on the internet for places to go to, and originally it's going to be 5 of us going on motorbikes. However, this was the weather forecast several days ago. We were due to go out on the Friday, and this was the weather forecast.
For the Channel Islands, the risk of gales, if not severe gales, occasionally this morning with some outbreak.
Due to the gale force 8 winds and above, the ferries quite rightly were cancelled on the Friday, the day we were due to go, and also yesterday, the Saturday. So the sailings have resumed today, Sunday. So sadly, the other 4 riders can't actually rejig their schedules, work schedules. So they've had to postpone this trip, but I'm still off this coming week. So I've just bit the bullet and thought, do you know what? I'm gonna go and do it on my own. So that's what we're doing. Billy No Mates on the GS, touring the Normandy Landing Beaches for 2 full days of touring. So really super excited and looking forward to the trip. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. So that is one of the trips that is on the bucket list, and hopefully I'm going to get to tick that off. So, planning and preparation prevents poor performance, I think the saying is. So yeah, been planning this for months, and sadly I have no control over the weather. And yeah, as we've just seen, the weather has kiboshed the initial trip, so it's just me on my own. So I'm going to go and do the trip. So it's going to be a bit of a recce trip. I sort of planned it over the last few months, sort of looked at on the internet places to go, not go, lots of stuff to see on the Normandy Landing Beaches. And as we've only got 2 full days, which is not enough really if I'm being honest, I've just tried to pick out the best bits. So if you're interested in visiting the Normandy Landing Beaches and you're time limited, well, stick around and hopefully you'll get some better idea as to what places to see and not to see if you decide to go and tour the Normandy Landing Beaches. So I'm going for 2 days on my Jack Jones, and so let's just jump straight into it then. So let's just talk about where we're going to go. So day 1, which is going to be touring tomorrow, which is Monday. So I'm just going to put the itinerary up here with times and stuff, so have a look at that, press the pause button. So basically I'm staying in a hotel at a place called Pointe, which is due south of Mont Saint-Michel. So going to hour and a half ride up towards the eastern side of the Normandy Landing Beaches, and basically you can see here on the map as well, I'm going to start at Pegasus Bridge and then work in a westerly direction along the coast, and then heading up towards Gold Beach, and then routing them back down towards the British Commonwealth War Cemetery in the city of Bayeux, and that will be day 1 tomorrow. So that's quite a nice schedule, actually quite busy. So Tuesday then, starting off at the hotel Pointe, and then routing up towards St.Mere, Eglise, across towards Utah Beach, then around towards Omaha Beach, and then stopping off at Pointe, and then finally ending up at the American War Cemetery, and that's one I'm really looking forward to as well. So this is the routing for the Tuesday. So over the 2 days that I'm away, I'm going to do about 500 miles. So that's the plan of action. Okay, then let's talk about the law and riding your motorbike in France then. So what do you need if you're on your bike in France? So several things you need. You need obviously your driving license, your insurance, and your logbook, or V5 I think you call that in the UK. And if you're on a motor vehicle, riding a bike, etc., and you're not from that country, then you need your passport with you as well. And obviously post-Brexit you need not a GB sticker but a UK sticker with a Union Jack as well. So I've already got one of those on the back of the number plate. And you'll also need a fluorescent vest, and they've got a law now where you need fluorescent stickers on your helmet. Not many people do that. You can buy them, but I've decided to bite the bullet. If they prosecute me for that, so be it, and on my head. So I'm not putting fluorescent stickers over my helmet. So you do that if you want to do that. And what else you need? And it's actually law now that you actually need to wear gloves as well. And obviously in relation to lights, make sure the lights don't dazzle oncoming vehicles. And if you've got a GPS unit, then you must have no speed detection devices selected on there, because if they look at your GPS, you may get prosecuted for that if you've got a tick in the GPS speed detection zone, so you can't have that. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You don't need actually first aid kits. They're optional as the breathalyzer as well. That's a trial period thing. So if you've got any queries, just jump onto the AA website or the RAC website. I'll put links in the description down below, so go and have a look at that. So basically, they are all the things that you need to carry with you. In relation to speed limits, it's easy for me to go have a look at this table, and basically if you're on their Péage auto routes, which are their motorways, you've got 80-mile-an-hour speed limit or thereabouts. If you're on their dual carriageways, i.e. non-auto routes, then it's 70 miles an hour or thereabouts. And then on the A and B roads, like in the UK, they've dropped it down to 50 miles an hour now, because France had some terrible road accident statistics, so they're trying to reduce that. So that's 50 miles an hour on the A and B roads. And then if you're entering the towns, built up areas, it drops down to 30 miles per hour. But have a look at the table there, and that changes as well if it's raining. So bike preparation, it's obviously a key to having a successful tour. So these are only my thoughts and recommendations. Anybody got any comments, please put them in the comment section down below. So my GS is not a year old, had it from new. It's done 3,500 miles, I think, or thereabouts. So the bike's been serviced, so it's good to go. Tyre wise, it's done about 3,000 miles on the Michelin Road 6s. We'll talk about those. I'll do a separate video on those as to whether I like them or not. So stay tuned for that one. So yeah, make sure you've got good tyres, and the tyre pressures are as per the manufacturer's recommendations. And then obviously I haven't got many different size screws on the BMW, so just a Torx screwdriver. Just go around, make sure that everything's nice and secure. What you don't want is a screw falling out, and then maybe if you've got a mate behind you, you know, whacking him, bouncing up off the road when you're doing 80 miles an hour and going through his visor on his helmet. So yeah, just make sure everything is nice and tight. And I say that for a reason, because the screws on my belly pan, one time I just checked it and they were actually loose, so I had to redo them up. So yeah, just make sure everything is secure and nothing's loose and going to fall off. So yeah, make sure your bike is in good condition, give it a quick clean so you know what's what. And if you have a chain, make sure the chain is nicely lubed up. In relation to navigation, so what am I going to use on the bike then? So I'm a great lover of the Garmin Zumo XT, so I'm going to be using that as my primary navigation device, and that's going to be a standalone unit. And I've got a Senna 10S on my HJC Rafa 11 helmet, so that's going to be talking to the TFT on the BMW, and my iPhone is going to be talking to the TFT as well. And I've got the BMW connectivity app. So I use the Scenic app to sort of do all the navigation routes. Then I GPX file it to the Zumo, and I've GPX filed it to the BMW connectivity app on my iPhone. So I've got two different modes of navigation. The separate one on the Garmin Zumo XT, that's a standalone, that's not connected to my phone or anything, so that's just giving me a visual indication as to where to go. And then I'm just going to use the Whizzy wheel for, you know, some music and that kind of stuff, and the navigation on the TFT will tell me which way to go, left and right. So I'm just trying that out to see if that's any good. So two navigation systems, standalone Zumo XT, which won't be talking to my helmet because my helmet is going to be connected to the TFT and my iPhone, so two separate systems. So just make sure you've got up-to-date maps, all the softwares is correct and up to date, and you should be good to go. So that's what I'm going to take for my navigation. And I've also got a good old-fashioned map that's on the wall behind me. We'll have a quick look at that, or I might have shown you that previously with the routes on it. So I actually got that from a company called, I think it was Standfords in the UK. If you go on Amazon and you want one of those Normandy maps, small scale, then you might not get a current one. You might not get the current version. So go to Standfords. Again, I'll put a link in the description down below, and you will get the latest map, because I quite like maps. So I've got one of those maps on the map wall behind me on the garage door. So yeah, so I'm pretty much good to go. So that's all the prep work done. So how am I going to carry all of this stuff, and what am I going to take? So let's have a look at that. So luggage wise, what am I going to take? Well, I've actually got all the side boxes, the SW Motac stuff. I'm only going for two days, 3 nights, so it's only me. I don't need much, in fact, if anything. So I am going to take some fresh clothes with me, don't worry about that. So how am I going to carry it? Well, I've got this really good bag, actually. I used it last year when I went to the Alps with my riding buddy. It's the Enderstam, that's a weird name to pronounce, a Tornado roll bag. Excellent bag. Again, all the kit I'll put in the description box down below, so go and check that out. So I'm taking that Enderstam roll bag. It's going to be strapped to the back seat. What am I going to use to strap that to the back seat? Yeah, I've got down here somewhere. Where are they? Yeah, I'm going to be using these rock straps. They're really good. Again, I used those last year. They're a really good set of straps. So that's how I'm going to be attaching the roll bag to my back seat. And then I've just got my top box. I'm not a lover of top boxes, but it'll keep stuff secure on the bike, namely all my camera equipment, which we'll talk about shortly. So yeah, I'm going to use the SW Motec top box. And the good thing with that is when I'm off the bike looking at some of the things on the Normandy Landing Beaches, I can take my helmet off and that helmet fits in the top box. I can lock it. I can leave camera equipment in there, etc., and I know that's secure. So that's how I'm going to be taking all my equipment with me, and the camera equipment I'm going to be using. So I'm actually using this. I really like this. So this is the DJI Osmo Action 3. So that is my primary camera. So that's really good actually. And then my backup camera for B-roll stuff is going to be the GoPro 8, and that will sit on the handlebars for some handlebar footage. And yeah, that's it. I mean, the DJI Action stuff, again, I've got stuff on my site about this, but batteries, 3 batteries in there in a separate carrying case. It's all really nice stuff. And audio wise, I've got their wireless microphone system, which I'm using now at the moment, and it's plugged into the iPhone, which I'm recording at in the garage. So again, their stuff is just so good. It really is. And then obviously, finally, just make sure you've got all your current documentation. A passport, you need some beer tokens. So I've got some beer tokens. I've got the Monzo card or Revolut, whatever you want to use. And I've got a separate holiday bookings for all my travel documentation and all my registration stuff for the bike and all that. So that all sits in there. And I've got a little notepad just to make some notes as to good things and bad things of the trip. So I think I sort of covered everything. Yeah, one thing I haven't covered, obviously you need a French European plug. I wear glass varifocals, so I've got a spare set of glasses as well, always handy to have. And obviously going to be doing about 3 hours sort of dual carriageway work, so I use these Alpine earplugs. I used those last year when we went to the Alps, and they were really good. So again, that's in the link down below. So yeah, they're really good just to protect your ears. And I'm going to take an extension cable with me, just with 4 sockets in it. So overnight time in the hotel, I'm going to take my laptop with me. I can fire up the laptop and then I can charge everything up without having to run out of sockets. So that's always a handy thing to do, is take an extension cable with you as well, if you've got room. From a safety point of view, obviously, if you're going away on your own and you have an incident and you're unconscious, a couple of things: just put a bit of paper on your person somewhere, who you are, emergency contact number. So I'll be doing that because I'm traveling alone. And also on your iPhone, I didn't know if you know, folks, but if somebody picks your phone up, say an ambulance or fire crews, and obviously they don't know what your code is, there is a facility that they can have a look at the emergency section of your phone just by pressing that. They should be aware of that. Both iPhone and Android have that facility. So just have a look at that, so you can access the emergency number in the phone without going into the phone. So if you're unconscious or that kind of thing. So it's always good to have that set up as well. And the other thing, obviously, have your phone number of your BMW garage dealer in there. So mine's in there already. And also any European assistance. My bike's still under warranty. So if it breaks down, I'll just phone BMW up and I've got the phone number in here. And then finally, I've got the owner's manual in a file on my phone as well. So if something happens, I'm not sure about what to do, I can have a look at the owner's manual in the phone. And I've just been over my bike with my torque screwdriver, and some of the screws are a little bit loose, so it does pay to check the bike and just not be blasé about it. So have a look at it, because I had about 4 or 5 of mine were loose, but I'm always taking the fairings off anyway. So have a look at it. And finally, sometimes the battery terminals become loose if you've been putting stuff on and off the bike, and that is one of the highest problems that people have with the bike not starting, is the terminals have come loose. So check your battery terminals. So obviously not forgetting some kind of spare kit. So the BMW uses Torx screws. So I've got a Torx T30 and 25 and then a flat-bladed screwdriver, an adjustable spanner, some fuses, gaffer tape if I need it, and then if there's a problem with the battery and we get a flat battery somewhere, then I've got a jump starter pack, and that's pretty good for charging phones as well if you've got an issue with the power. And then obviously not forgetting your spare key. And then I've got, if I get a puncture, I've got the pocket tyre plugger. And then if I do get a puncture, I need to inflate the tyre. So yeah, I've got a battery operated compressor, and I think that's about it from spares. So just take what you think you need. So that's it, folks. The bike's nice and clean and really looking forward to the trip. I just want to go and pay my respects to all those gallant folk, both military men and women who lost their lives or were seriously injured in the D-Day landings, the start of the end of the Second World War, and all the civilians as well that were sadly killed during that terrible time. So I'm really looking forward to it. Excited, emotional, I guess, as well. So yeah, so something you're interested in, stick around, do all the YouTube subscribing stuff, that'd be lovely. Make any comments in the comment section down below. 8 hours time, down to the ferry, off to France. See you soon.